Hello Libra, Sun, Moon and Rising. These are your messages for December. So sorry they're up so late. Let's have a look at what we have coming up for you. So the very first card that we have is the Four of Cups. Now I think Cancer got this as well as their underlying energy. So some of you might have Cancer placements or be dealing with a Cancer. But this card is about feeling stuck. So you may be starting this month and it'll be from whenever you watch this video, I guess. Feeling stuck, feeling a sense of apathy, like not knowing what to do, not knowing what your options are, not knowing what to do with the options that you have. Now you have 3 cups in front of this guy and he's sitting there like crossed armed, crossed legs. You don't need to be a body language expert to understand that, you know, he's not interested in these 3 cups that are in front of him. Now this can sometimes be when there's an offer of love on the table and someone's rejecting that offer. I'm not really getting that sense here. I'm getting more that this is feeling stuck. You know, it's more of the same old, like when are things going to change? Sometimes this can be when we've given up. We've given up on some dream that we have, you know, something that we really want. And we've almost given up on it because it's like, this is never going to happen. But it is coming in. This cup here that's being presented from the clouds, this divine cup, this represents the Ace of Cups, which is a new beginning in love, a new beginning at happiness, something that, you know, represents a new emotional cycle for us, emotional growth. But we don't see it because like this guy looking at what's right in front of us and, you know, not really impressed with what's in front of us as well. We'll see how this card plays out in the rest of the reading. The thing with the fours, all of the fours, is that not much changes when the fours come up. So there is a very kind of stagnant feeling as we begin the spread. However, we have coming up at the heart of your reading, and Taurus, I think Taurus got this in the heart of their reading, which is, you know, a sign that's also ruled by Venus, like you guys. We have the 10 of Cups coming up here. So this is the completion of a cycle. 10s are always the completions of cycles. And this is something that brings us great happiness. It's our heart's desire. It's experiencing that. Now, I'm not saying, obviously, that if you're stuck in this energy, that you're also feeling the 10 of Cups. But this is celebrations. This can be one of the marriage cards. It's families, it's gatherings, it's reunions. This maybe it's the happy ever after card. So it can be that, you know, you're feeling stuck because you know what your happy ever after is. Or, you know, you will have in December a clearer idea of what it is, what this represents for you. What it is that, you know, is your happy ever after, is that thing that will ultimately make you happy. What we all strive for, anything that we do, the work that we do, the relationships that we get into, it's because we have an idea of this. This is where we want to go. This is what we want to achieve. So maybe that's why you're feeling so stuck, because, you know what it is that you want, but you don't see it. It's like, how the hell am I going to get 10 cups out of these 3? But there is something coming in. And it's something that I feel like you've been waiting for a very long time. We have Temperance coming up as a past energy. Now, this is the card for Sagittarius. So when we're talking about timings, this may represent a timing, right? And I always say tarot timings are strange because they play out differently for all of us. Some of us go with the energy, some of us don't. This may represent Sagittarius season, which does end the 3rd week of December. So this may be what this represents for you, that, you know, that's the past energy, that this is, as far as this top row energy goes, it's for Sagittarius season. But obviously that's, you know, going to play out differently for all of you. Temperance is a card of patience, and it feels like you've been very patient. You've been keeping the balance. You've been trying to keep the harmony in your life. You see this person, this angel, kind of pouring liquid from one cup to the other. And there's a sense when this card comes up, again, not much moving, not much shifting. So you have that top row feels very stuck, very stagnant. And it's like, it's divine timing. This does indicate like divine timing, divine protection. There's a plan here. There's some kind of, there's a very fated element to this card. But it can be when you're just trying to find meaning in your day to day. You're just trying to get through. You're trying to, you know, have that patience. But it can be frustrating. It can be frustrating. I said this, I think, was it last time this came up for Aquarius, and I was like, I don't like it when I get this card. We don't have to like all the energies. I mean, yes, we can understand that there's a divine plan, a divine purpose to our lives, but it doesn't mean that we don't get frustrated, that we don't see, that we don't want to shift the energy, that we don't want to do more, that, you know, especially one of the hardest things, and I said this to Taurus, one of the hardest things is knowing what's going to make us happy. And once we have a clear idea of that dream, of that path that we want to be on, you know, what our end goal is, what that dream is, it can be frustrating when we can't just go for it. When it's like, no, when you have this angel kind of that shows up on your path and says, you know, hold on a second, let's try to find some peace and harmony with what's going on right here, right now. So it feels like you've been going through this. You have been keeping the balance, but like I said, it can be frustrating. However, that new beginning that you want, it comes in here with the Fool. So this is coming up in the present. Now, I say this every time the Fool comes up. It's numbered 0. It's not the beginning and it's not the end. It is sometimes seen as the first card of the Major Arcana. I see it as the one in between the beginning and the end. It's when we decide to go again. A new adventure is about to begin. A new cycle is about to begin. Now, the 10 of Cups there, that can be the closure of an emotional cycle, but that obviously also indicates then a new beginning coming in. Because whenever the 10s come in, then the aces come in again, right? So there's a new beginning, and there isn't that Ace of Cups that's being presented to that guy in the 4 of Cups. So the Fool card, if you look at this guy, he's setting out on a new adventure. It's a major life cycle that's beginning for you, something new. Now, he doesn't really have anything with him. He has his little dog with him. It is a dog, right? Yeah. He's got very long ears for a dog, so it might be a hare, I don't know. But, you know, he's got this companion. So it shows that you'll have loyal friends with you. You'll have support. You'll have companionship. But he doesn't really have much else. He has a little knapsack. He doesn't have a map. He doesn't know where he's going. But he's excited and he's eager. And this is about being ready to experience whatever comes your way. And think about it. If you've had that temperance energy in the past, where everything's been like keeping the balance, trying to maintain some sense of peace and harmony, this then shows, you know, this can be exciting, but it's about experiencing everything. Now, he usually stands at the edge of a cliff like he does here. And I always think, he's not afraid. Why is he not afraid? Because he knows he'll land on his feet. He's very trusting. He's ready to take that leap of faith. Are you ready to take that leap of faith, Libra? I feel for a lot of you, you are. You are. I think for some of you, that's why this 4 of Cups is coming up here. Because sometimes there can be a sense of fear of accepting this, right? Like, you might be stuck here, you might be sat here, but it's a 4. 4s are very stable. And if you've been going through a lot, if you know you've gone through difficult energies, or even if you've been in a stuck energy, it's better the devil you know. It becomes that you know you're used to that. This is something new coming in, and this does require a risk. It requires going on faith. I do feel like a lot of you will, and you'll not just do it, but you'll kind of do it with gusto, because you have the Knight of Swords coming up as a future energy. Now, this is an air card, so this can be Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra. So it can be you, can be someone else that you're dealing with. But this is that knowing what you believe. So swords are our thoughts, our beliefs, our ideas, how we communicate them. The Knight of Swords, he's on an eagle here, but, you know, usually he goes charging into battle. He's ready to fight for what he believes in. Now, for you guys, this is being ready to fight for what your happily ever after is. Going for it, going for this dream, going for this emotional, this contentment, you know, your heart's desire, what it is that truly makes you happy, going for it. Somebody else could come in who represents this for you, in which case, you know, they would be a younger energy, very spontaneous, ready to just go charging in, ready to really fight, really fight. Now, the only thing I would say with the Knight of Swords is this person can be a little bit rash, like they just kind of go charging in. And while that's not a bad thing, especially when you've had stuck energy like the 4 of Cups and Temperance coming up, it's not the best thing to do during a Mercury retrograde, which Mercury is retrograde until the 3rd week of December. So just kind of look at your thoughts. I know that sounds strange, but, you know, you are an air sign. Go to that logical place. Think about it. Keep your eye on the prize. Keep your eye on that 10 of Cups. Like, you know, what is it that makes you happy? And I'd say long term, like, you know, not a new dream that you've just come up with, because we can change our minds if we come up with something during a Mercury retrograde, chances are we'll change our mind when Mercury goes direct. But this is, I like this for you guys, especially like if you've got this new beginning coming up, something new. Because now you're not just ready to go kind of walking in, you're like charging in. You're like, yes, I want this. I'm going to go fight for it. This is also about speaking your truth. Someone may come forward and speak their truth to you, or you might need to speak your truth to someone. I'm getting the sense that for some of you, you're closing an emotional cycle by saying what you finally think, that you may not have said it. You may have had to be, you've been stuck with that Four of Cups. You've been trying to maintain the balance, maintain the status quo. And now it's like, sod it. If I want to get this, if I want to start a new cycle, I need to just speak my truth and go. However, look at what we have coming up as your advice card, which is, you know, the crowning energy here. You have the Seven of Swords. Now, yes, this card is usually seen as the liar, cheater, deception card, but it's not always that. It's not always dealing. I'm not getting kind of lies coming up anywhere else. In fact, this guy speaks his truth. He's one of the court cards of the Suit of Swords, and they always speak their truth. They always fight for their truth, whatever their truth is. It may be brutal. The Knight of Swords can be a little bit, he's not as tactful as, like, you know, the King and Queen. Doesn't have that much tact. He can just lay it out there, and it's kind of like, can be difficult to hear sometimes, but it's like speaking it. So this, I'm not really seeing this as lies and deception. I'm seeing this as maybe something that you don't want to face, that you've spent so long trying to keep the balance here, that, you know, you now thinking, I don't really want to do this, like, you know, like he's sneaking away. So this can be when someone just ghosts, when you just disappear, when you're just like, I'm not dealing with this, because it's a risk. You feel like it's a risk I don't want to take. But this card is telling you to take a risk, right? The Fool card, it says take a risk. What I'm going to actually do is pull a clarifier for that Seven of Swords, because it can go in so many different directions. It can be just telling us to be kind of smart about something. Because think about it, he's a thief. He has to plan what he's going to do. He's going to plan what he has to go and get. So it can be when it's telling us to not just be, like, not, I don't want to say be clever about it, but, you know, be sneaky. Sometimes we have to really think through the plan. The reason I'm pulling a clarifier is because we are in a Mercury retrograde. So, oh, what just fell out? All right, so we have the Five of Cups coming up with this. I'm going to pull one more. One more. Okay, right. So, started off with the Seven of Swords, right? So, Seven of Swords, it, like I said, not wanting to face something, having to be sneaky about something. Is it worth the risk? That's the Seven of Swords. Why? Some of you, I think that Four of Cups, it may be some kind of something that represents your happiness, something new that comes in, but you're not ready to face it because you're still going through some loss. The Five of Cups, it is a card of loss. It's about regret, missed opportunities. Now, we have to honor these emotions when they come up. When we're in this place of loss, when we're in this place of, I've lost out on this, we're not ready to look at the two cups that are there yet. We're not ready to look at the support or the relationship. We're still dealing with some loss or the whatever that pain is. Now, yes, honor those emotions, but at some point you will be ready to turn around, and that's when you'll see this. And that's what the Six of Swords shows. It's moving away from a difficult situation. So some of you may just, with that Seven of Swords and that Knight of Swords, be just like, forget this. I'm just out of here. I'm done. I'm going. I don't want to even deal with it. I don't need a sense of closure. I don't need anything. This is when you've been sad. There is also a sense of grief in this, but you move away from it. You're moving away from it now. You're moving to calmer waters. There's hope here. It's a very stable energy. So it does feel like you guys don't want to deal with something, but I would say because you have Temperance sat above all of that, it's not because you don't want to look at it. There's no kind of ignoring it energy. It's like, I'm done with it. Maybe that's what you've been trying to keep the status quo in a relationship. You've been trying to make it work at a job. Like, you've done everything that you can do. And now it's like, you know, there's nothing, I have nothing more to gain from this. I have nothing more to do with this. And you've been stuck. This has been that situation that you've been looking at those three cups. And now it's like, no, I want this. I want that new beginning. And that's why you have this. You're off on a new adventure, taking that leap of faith. And it might be that you need to take a leap of faith. Some of you, this might be like, you know, leaving a job or a situation without any kind of guarantees, but you do it and you make it work with the Knight of Swords. You make it work.